Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named StreetSpring in the relationship advice subreddit. The post is titled, "I woke up to this text this morning from my colleague and friend of 5 years. I woke up to this text this morning from my colleague and friend of 5 years. I am so upset that he sent this to me. He said he's pretty sure none of this would come as a shock to me. Yes it did. I thought we were friends. We work in the same department and have to work together every single day. He's married. I, honest to God, thought our friendship has been nothing more than just that, friends. I've asked myself if I've given any mixed signals, and I swear I haven't. When we went to Buffalo Wild Wings 5 years ago, it was after we had to meet a customer together, so we went to lunch. I don't even remember what we talked about, but I promise you it was small talk. I remember this lunch specifically because we both got COVID afterward. I treat him the same way I treat my other colleagues. I have always felt comfortable and safe around him because he is married. I was in a relationship 4 of the 5 years I have known him. I have never looked at him in a romantic way and never will. I don't understand why he would send this to me because it changes everything. I haven't responded to him because I don't know what to say. By the way, I go to lunch with him and other colleagues from time to time. We go as a group or sometimes one-on-one. I think I'm upset because I really appreciated his friendship and now I'm wondering what he expected from me after sending this text. Does he think I would get involved with him romantically? Did he think I wanted to hear this? I have told him my stance on people cheating and how I do not condone that kind of behavior. Since we work together so closely, how do I handle this? What do I say? Here's the text. 5 years, for the past 5 years, since a day that we had a lunch at Buffalo Wild Wings, I have not been able to get you off my mind. It was really bad about 2 years ago when I would have given up everything I had just to have dinner with you, but I find that recently it is happening again. To wake up in the middle of the night thinking about you is both confusing and exciting. I'm pretty sure none of this will come as a shock to you, but I'm telling you because I have needed to get it off my chest for years now, and I know I need to stop before it causes any issues at work. I'm always comfortable telling you anything, and since I won't be seeing as much of you as in the past, now that we are downstairs, I thought I would end the year by letting you know. Your sense of humor, confidence, strength, independence, motivation, risk-taking, etc. makes it hard for me to hold in telling you how beautiful I find you every time I see you. Every day there is something different that has me realizing just how special you are. I hope 2025 brings you the health and happiness that you deserve. First off, I would obviously save screenshots of the messages just in case this blows up. Afterward, I would just shut this entire thing down immediately if you care about your career. I personally would just drop it after that, but if you felt like doing some extra credit, I guess you could go out of your way to tell the coworker's wife. However, that's way too much unnecessary work in my opinion. Just cover your own back, but I don't know if the professional relationship can ever completely return to normal. User the capital point said, "You need to shut this down immediately. Be really direct with him. Tell him that you are not interested in him romantically. Hold him accountable for how inappropriate it was to send such a message to a coworker. You have done nothing wrong. If anyone should feel awkward here, it is him." User Trey C. Lau said, "All I will say is that if someone is interested in you, it is not always about you sending them signals or indications that you like them back. If he is that into you, which it sounds like he really is, his feelings have just grown over time. I'd personally send him a response saying, 'I'm sorry, but I genuinely had no idea you felt this way, and I am sorry to lose you as a friend.'" User OK Possible said, "This person sounds like he is having a midlife crisis. Tell him you are not interested and brush it off. If he cannot get it together, then escalate the situation. People cannot control how they feel, but they can control how they respond." This next story was made in the same subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, "My boyfriend has disappeared every weekend for the past 3 years, and I just found out he's been lying to me about where he goes. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We don't live together but are close enough to spend a lot of time together. However, it is very rare for us to spend a whole day together. When we have, it's been a weekday where our schedules have just happened to line up. We have never spent a day on the weekend together. He works as a research assistant while getting his PhD. Every single weekend for the 3 years we've been together, he insists he has work. I realize how naive I've been now, but foolishly I trusted him. I trusted that he had work every single weekend for 3 years. That was until today. I have been studying for finals and it's the toughest it's ever been, so I was craving some time with him. Just a day where we could kick back and relax with each other. Of course, he says he can't because he's working, and I dropped the subject. So today I'm getting antsy anyway and hoping we could at least spend the evening together. I end up texting him asking when he thinks he'll be back so we can spend the night. I've done this plenty of times before and he always responds fairly quickly. This time I'm waiting for a while. After 2 hours, I decide to text a work friend of his who's also a research assistant with him. Wouldn't you know it, it turns out they don't have work today. In fact, he informs me in that same text that they rarely ever have work on weekends. Rarely ever, so now I'm sitting here wondering what is going on. I have no idea how to confront him about this. I mean, this has been going on for 3 years. If he's cheating on me, he basically has a second family at this point. But obviously that's where my mind goes and I have no clue what else it could possibly be. Like, is there any possible explanation for this besides cheating? How in the world do I confront him about something he's been doing for 3 years? Since he's doing whatever it is tomorrow, do I just drive over to his place in the morning and wait and then follow him? Has anyone had anything like this happen to them before? I think it's totally fine to be concerned, but I really hope OP doesn't jump to conclusions. While I do think her partner is up to no good, I still feel like she should do some investigating first. Far too often on Reddit, users tell OP to immediately make rash decisions which end up ruining a relationship. That being said, I get the feeling that OP is just a side piece. She did say that they never spent weekends together, which is straight up wild. They've been together for 3 years, but nevertheless, she should still exercise a bit of caution and again, not jump to conclusions. User Cold Feet Warm Socks said, "At this stage, the final exams are what matter most and what you should try to focus on. The future ex is a waste of space and it sucks that you had to find out this way. I hope you don't let him impact your professional future. I'm sending all the best wishes for your success." User Lady Goodman said, "You're definitely the other woman. I saw you question how his real relationship would function if he didn't see her except on the weekends. And the answer is it's a long-term relationship with a foundation. And it's only like that while he's in school. Once school is done, he will go home to his actual wife and family. I know this because my mom was unknowingly the other woman for many years." User Decent Pear said, "The reason he's never spent a weekend with you is because you are the side chick. He's cheating on his relationship with you. The weekends are for his actual girlfriend, wife, or kids. You are not it. Respect yourself and ghost this scumbag. He doesn't deserve to have access to your body or be in your thoughts another second." Update. So I logged into this account for the first time since making my original post and find that there are a lot of messages. I haven't read them all, but I will. The recent ones all ask for an update, so here it is. When I logged off, things seemed to be pretty split on what I should do. Most people just decided to call him a cheater or say that I'm the side chick. Frankly, I wasn't sure I could wait another day to confront him, so I confronted him the night of that post. No games or stalking or anything. Anyway, I had texted him telling him to come over when his work was done, and he did. I waited about 5 minutes for him to settle in before telling him that we needed to talk about something important. He immediately responded with "uh-oh," which was a bit demeaning, but that sarcastic response honestly matches his personality. I tell him everything that happened, how hurt I was, how I didn't feel like I could trust him about anything considering he's been doing this for 3 years, and then asked if he had anything to say. He told me he wasn't cheating on me or anything like that. He was just embarrassed about what he had been doing. I asked him what he could possibly be so embarrassed about as to hide it and lie to me about it for 3 years. He takes like a minute to compose himself and then mutters something. He clearly feels guilty, but I obviously don't hear it, so I ask him what he said because I didn't hear. He tells me that he volunteers at a homeless shelter every weekend since coming here for his PhD. Volunteering at a homeless shelter, I swear to you, whatever emotions are coming across here were multiplied 10 times in the moment. I could not comprehend what he was saying. Like, he was embarrassed for volunteering at a homeless shelter? It didn't make any sense. So I asked him what he meant, and he repeated that he volunteers at a homeless shelter for 6 hours on Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday every weekend. Of course, I ask him why he would be embarrassed about that, and he asks if we can talk about this more tomorrow, and he can instead show me that he isn't lying by taking me to volunteer. I don't know what I was really thinking. I think my mind was just blank. So I agreed with a sure and asked him to leave. He apologized for the whole thing and left, and then sent a text that he'd pick me up in the morning so he can prove to me that he's not lying. Of course, my mind races all night and I tossed and turned all night, but Sunday came anyway. He wasn't lying. He takes me to a homeless shelter / soup kitchen place, and we make food, clean, and pack daily necessities for 6 hours. It clearly isn't the place to have the conversation, so I spend most of my time doing the work and chatting with other people. They were really nice, but of course, the whole thing was still weighing on my mind the entire time, so I start asking them about my boyfriend. They confirm that he's been working there as long as they remember and is there every weekend. Finally, our volunteering ends and we head back to his car. I try to start the conversation, but he shuts me down and asks me to wait until we get back to his place. I say fine and we head to his apartment. Once there, the talking begins. He asks if I believe that he's telling the truth about working at the homeless shelter every weekend, and I say that I do since I confirmed it with a lot of people while there, but I also said that I don't understand the lying, especially for as long as he did. He apologizes again and asks if I really want to know why he kept it a secret. I say of course. He sighs and then tells me that he doesn't like people knowing that he likes helping people. Obviously, I'm going what because this is so weird, and I ask him to explain. He tells me that when he was an undergrad student, he would always try to help his class behind the scenes by discussing problems they had or negotiating for curves or extensions on their assignments, even when he didn't personally need it. He said he enjoyed doing it and kept doing it as a master's student, but then started to do so publicly before and after classes. Apparently, most of his classmates were still happy with him, but a few basically hated him for it because he was babying them or something, so he went back to doing things behind the scenes and no longer tries to associate himself with any of the things he does to help others. Hopefully, I'm not the only one who finds this so dang weird. Like, the homeless shelter stuff and assisting your classmates aren't remotely the same. I say as such, and he tells me it does the same thing. It helps people, so he doesn't like people to know about it because then they might misinterpret his intent and think he's masquerading as a good person. Then he assures me that he's not a good person at all, but he still wants to do what he can for people, so this is what he does. So I ask if he really thinks I would get mad that he's helping homeless people in his free time. He tells me he wasn't sure at first, especially since I wanted to spend weekends together when we were first going out. So he just lied to hide it at first, but he knows I wouldn't do that now, but kept the lie going because he thought it would be too weird to suddenly say that he's volunteering at a homeless shelter. I feel like I've come to the conclusion that he's just really weird. His way of thinking has always been odd, but this in particular is just so weird. Like, he seems to understand the situation and where I'm coming from, but didn't think to tell me the truth on his own. We started going in circles, so I ended the conversation and had him drive me home in silence. Since then, he sent a number of texts and has tried to call me a few times. I didn't pick up on Monday or Tuesday because I felt like I needed time to think, but I finally picked up today and we had a talk in which we both reiterated what we had said. I know a lot of people were telling me to break up with him, but I am still thinking things through. I'm going to try and get him to hang out this weekend and make my decision after that, I think. This whole thing has been so weird. I'm sorry that I've repeated that so much, but my brain is still rather scrambled. I don't think there will be any more updates to this because we either stay together or break up, but if there are, they won't be posted here. Update 2. So I asked him to come over so we could talk, and he did. I then asked him some of the questions people had on here that I had written down, volunteering for 6 hours but still not having time for me. He said he would get there a little early and leave late, but would then spend the remaining hours running errands and actually working on PhD or assistant stuff. I asked if he could give me details. He gave some details about academic articles that I don't remember. I asked why he couldn't spend more weekend evenings with me if this was the case. He said that he was really busy with work and that I would distract him. Out of all the things said, I think this is the one that bothers me the most. I asked if the volunteering was court-ordered. He laughed at that and was clearly confused by the question, but answered that given the special population he works with doing his PhD, he doubts he'd be able to work with them if he had a record that required so many hours. I asked if he was ever going to tell me about the volunteering. He initially said he doesn't know, then replied that he probably wouldn't have. He apologized for lying, but then said that whether he was working or volunteering doesn't make a difference to how much time he spent with me. Obviously, I pushed back on this and he got defensive, and we had an argument that basically reiterated how I felt like I couldn't trust him because he was lying about this while he kept apologizing for the lying and making me feel that way, but that it wouldn't have changed how we spend time together. Ultimately, I asked him to explain to me again why he hid it in the first place. Like he said previously, he used to talk to professors during undergrad about extensions and questions others had behind closed doors and then make sure those things were stated to the rest of the class. He did the same thing in his master's program. This is where I got lost before. One of his professors was a hard ass and some of his classmates were scared to talk to him about their grades, so he thought he could show them that he was willing to discuss grades, and he made a joke about his own grade in class. The professor didn't find it funny and went on a tirade about respect and showing him up, and apparently the class ended shortly thereafter because it was so tense. He said that some of the other students felt like they needed to cut ties with him to show the professor they weren't in on the joke, and that a few of them made a show of hating him from that point forward. Hearing it more in depth at least makes this make a little more sense to me. I stated again that helping homeless people and helping classmates seemed like entirely different things altogether. He said that they felt like the same to him, but that I was probably right and he was wrong. I asked him why he said he's a bad person. He replied asking if he said that, and I said yes. He said that he didn't want the volunteering to make him seem like a good person because he's not. I asked what he meant, and he replied that I know him. I said I'm not sure I do. He said that I know what he means. I don't, you do, etc. in circles. Personally, I think he has low self-esteem, but this is a weird way to express it, and I'm not sure what else it could be. I told him I wasn't sure I wanted to continue the relationship because of the lying. He seemed hurt, but then just said okay and that it's my decision. I told him that he should at least get therapy for the classmate thing because it's clearly affected him negatively. He replied that he probably should, but he won't. After that, I gave him an ultimatum: either spend more time with me on weekends and go to therapy, or we break up. I told him to think about it and that he has until Saturday. He said he would, and he went on his way. Update 3. This will probably be my last post here. Saturday came and he asked me to compromise. He would take a day off from volunteering if I volunteered with him the other day, and he wouldn't have to go to therapy. I said I needed to think about it. I told him later that night that I'd accept the compromise if he was willing to go to one therapy session. On Sunday morning, he told me he wouldn't be willing to go to therapy and asked that we go out to dinner. We went to a local diner and basically talked about ending things. He apologized for ending things this way and said that he knew he wasn't exactly being reasonable, but he's doing what he feels like he needs to do. I basically said that that's up to him. We wished each other the best, he gave me a parting hug, and I went on my way. So yeah, 3 years of commitment for this kind of sucks. Have a good day. Final update. I'm pretty intoxicated while writing this, so let me first say sorry for my incomprehensibility. Anyway, if you don't remember who I am, check my profile. Anyway, I've been keeping myself busy with school and stuff, but some casual encounters every once in a while have been good stress relief. What isn't good stress relief was a text message I received today. I should have blocked him, but I didn't, so here we are. I didn't respond to him, but here's the message verbatim. Hello, sorry for contacting you. I am sorry for how I acted. After you left, I really gave a lot of things some thought. I didn't want therapy because I didn't want a professional to tell me that I'm different or weird or diagnose me with something that jeopardizes my profession, and I especially didn't want them to try and change me. I bit the bullet in January. I was diagnosed with schizotypal personality disorder. You can look it up, I guess. I'm not seeing the therapist frequently, especially after he suggested altering some of my behaviors and told me that I'm coping using my volunteering. Sorry, I'm just saying that you were right, and I wasn't being fair to you. Please do not feel burdened to respond. I hope you are happy. God, he hopes I'm happy. I mean, really, after everything, he acts like some sort of victim. I hate it so much. Every single time I've thought of him since we broke up, I just get more angry. I guess it is nice to know that I wasn't imagining things and there is something actually wrong with him, but did he have to contact me? Gross. Anyway, I was huffing and drinking and spotted my login details still on my laptop desktop and figured an update wouldn't be too hard. I hope you guys know how to pick them better than me. User Bleacher Blonde said, "Wow, you really dodged a bullet. Not seeing the therapist frequently is a scary sentence. That should be the only thing he's doing." User Huloy100 said, "God, he hopes I'm happy. I mean, really, after everything, he acts like some sort of victim. I hate it so much. Every single time I've thought of him since we broke up, I just get more angry. I guess it is nice to know that I wasn't imagining things and there is something actually wrong with him, but did he have to contact me? Gross. Anyway, I was huffing and drinking and spotted my login details still on my laptop desktop and figured an update wouldn't be too hard. I hope you guys know how to pick them better than me." OP on her ex's mental illness struggles. She is literally a narcissistic ex-girlfriend. Look at how she frames someone struggling with a serious mental illness. Related, this last post was also made in the relationship advice subreddit by a user named No Sympathy for Poor Man. The post is titled, "I discovered my GF is a serial cheater. She's with me in a foreign country. How do I approach this?" So it's exactly as the title says. I'm currently seated on the couch typing this while she's sound asleep in my bed. I feel lost. I've been with my girlfriend for 3 years now. She's an international student whom I met while enrolled at a university in my home country. We clicked and started dating soon thereafter. We dated until I ultimately graduated and moved to a different city. Meanwhile, she returned home for further studies, and we were in a long-distance relationship for a significant portion of this year. While long distance, we would talk daily, have a phone call almost every night, and there were constant mutual assurances of love and commitment. I'd help her with her studies, talk with her family occasionally, and everything went smoothly for the most part. For the holidays, I flew her to my city so we could reunite for a bit before she returned to her studies. I've taken her on dates, taken her shopping, explored the city with her, and have a full itinerary of fun activities we can do. It's been pretty much what you'd expect from a typical young couple. I thought we were wildly in love and aiming to build a future together. Of course, it all came crashing down spectacularly. I woke up this morning to a barrage of messages and screenshots from an unfamiliar number. It's all damning. It confirms that she's cheated on me multiple times while in her home country. There were texts talking about her needing to take emergency contraceptives, missing her period, and possibly needing an abortion, among other things. Some of it is so sickening, I can't even believe that this is the same woman I've come to know for years. It makes me question whether I ever really knew her, or if I only knew the parts of her that she wanted me to know. I don't even know what I feel right now. It feels like I'm lucid dreaming. Part of me is furious, incandescent with rage really. Another part of me is just dead. Her flight home leaves tomorrow and I'm torn between waking her up and confronting her now or just waiting until she's departed before blocking her and forgetting her existence. I don't know. It just perplexes me that after all this time of being committed and loyal to her, this is how she chooses to behave. Reddit, I don't even know why I've posted here. The relationship is over, that's a certainty. I just don't know exactly how to approach it and I'm torn. Edit confronted her about it. The messages and screenshots weren't fake. It's all real. We're done. User Black Cat Lucifer said, "Don't do anything dramatic. It is trashy and never plays out like you think it will. Personally, I'd be polite and civil and see her on her way. Wait until she is home and then let her know the relationship is over. If she argues or fights or makes any demands, forward the evidence to her and say it is drama you are not prepared to be involved in. Then you can block her." User Just Lurking said, "Talk to her. Anyone can send a text. How do you know any of this is true? It may be a jealous guy at home who wants to break you up so he can shoot his shot. It may be a member of her family who wants to break you up because they don't want her marrying a foreigner. She may actually be cheating, but if you are basing this solely on text messages, you could be making a life-changing decision based on lies."